In this film I'm looking back to a wooden dashboard I made for my godson's Austin 7 Special. We had features where the dashboard opens because I hate diving down the footwells to get to wiring. It's got boxes each side. One it's like a glove box, the other hides USB chargers. That's a decorative veneer that sits on top of a plywood kind of structural piece. Just softwood legs cut on the bandsaw to a curve at the back and then tapers in a couple of directions. I was pleased with it. I hope you enjoy the film. So the process starts by drilling a hole, put the jigsaw in and cut round. Lots and lots and lots of sanding, followed by lots and lots and lots more sanding. So this is a router that spins this little cutter at high speed, and it's got a curved blade, so it rounds these edges over, and this is the back. I very nearly did the front by mistake. Sort of tearing that up on the edge. We set a little bit too deep, but a little bit of sanding and that'll clean up. Those little screw-in nuts that I bought yesterday, thinking might come in handy, have come in handy. So I'm just dummying this up with a piece of MDF with a rounded nose to get the hole in the right place. And then this is a thumb screw on the longest of the M4 bolts I've got, and a nut to secure it. So there's enough light when that opens. You can see the nut there. There it is. The other thing I've done is I've taped a washer on the top, so that'll be glued on, that will then pull against. So I'm now making the dash legs. So there's the first one coming along quite nicely. I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to round that edge over, put quite a big radius on that. Probably use the same cutter as the back of the dashboard. Around the back as well. I was also wondering about putting lightning holes in there. Probably not. What is to get rid of this gap here? You need to chop that level, and then that'll sit in a square slot instead of a tapered slot. So if I'm committing to the legs, I can commit to removing that piece. It's kind of a deep breath before chopping a piece off of there, because there's quite a lot of time invested in that. So there's two cuts. So it must have been that one first. That cut first, that piece falls off, and then that cut to take that piece out. So it tapers in two directions. And then I'll sand it, round it over. So there's the final cut on the second leg. It's been really quick. I mean, 20 minutes, that includes thinking time. This is now pleasingly light, but the shape not quite happy with, so I've taped up a curve, which I think will make it look nicer, and then it finishes on a vertical and then it curves back to this 88-degree slope, which I think looks much better than the straight. I think the more subtle curves we can get on this, the better. And here's the dashboard. I found these nice brass dome-headed screws, which are in the countersinks, which I did for the sort of big regular screws. I'm pleased with the shape of the legs. So they've got a curve on the back, and they've got a taper top to bottom, and obviously the curve around the scuttle. I've got the exact 88-degree angle where it sits on the floor. I quite like that leg comes forward look. What I'm not sure about is whether those plywood panels that go on here actually look any nicer than just the black pod on the green. So we'll see what Edward thinks, but there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 tiny little holes to fill, and a little little dab of green paint over to tidy that up. So that's my sample with one new wet coat, and then that's 2 coats, and then that's 3 coats, and that's what 1 coat rubbed down looks like, and then that's the 2nd coat just gone on. So that's the passenger box except for the lid. Base screws into the very sturdy pine perimeter, and then it's held with 2 screws through the dashboard. Will hold that on. So the screw's quite long. The only thing to be careful of is the screw doesn't go into the USB charger. Chances of one of these massively over-engineered boxes failing is pretty slim. First one screwed in, and then the second one I got everything lined up with 1 spike, and then well, get one hole lined up with 1 spike, the other diagonal lined up, get it in tight, put the screws in on the diagonal, then I can take these out and put the final screws in, confident that the 4 little pilot holes will line up. I did the pilot holes by pushing screws through and lining it up and giving it a little tap, and then drilling those. So I've got good long screws down pilot holes, so that'll be really firm and it won't split. So that's where the USB and the 12 volt go. So the last bit to do is the lids, and then I'll paint them not attached to the dashboard and not with the lids on, so I can paint inside nice and easily, and I'll put the lids back on in the morning. So very nearly there. Another exciting shot of paint drying. So the lids are just screwed to a bit of wood on a bit that's not going to show as a handle. These are balanced on kebab skewers just to raise them up, so there'll just be a couple of little lines on the front, again bits that won't show. I found a bit of bling. I like the round heads because the screwdriver fits easily. I think they look nice compared with the standard countersunk. I'm not going to see those screws very often, so it's when the scuttle top comes off. But in the same way as a nice shaped hinge is a pleasing thing when you open the dashboard. I think a few nice brass screws would be cheering. Hopefully 20 years time the scuttle top will come off when I'm with the car somewhere and I get, oh, they're nice. A bit of a Wallacy Gromity look to it. And they're quite interesting shapes by the time they're finished, because they taper that way and that way, because I'm wanting to allow for the fall of the bonnet. Of course I sanded inside as well. What I'm now trying to do is fit these plugs. So, well, it's come together, and now it is all finished. I actually quite like the wood again. So, really pleased with the leg shape and the curves. I'm content that that angle will clear the scuttle. Those are so discreet in there, but great to have. That fits nicely. Could do better with the gloss, but it's finished as a decision, and that's pretty good enough for now for this. So we get it out in the daylight while I've got some. Have a look at it.